What's going on YouTube world? Austin Zabak here with another YouTube video, and in this video we're going to talk about why you should actually not buy a home. Now, if you know anything about me or my life, or maybe you have zero idea who the heck I am, there's a lot of different things that I do, but one of which is actually a real estate agent. So the fact that I'm actually starting the video off by telling you not to buy a house is quite interesting and rather contradicting, but let's go ahead and jump right into exactly why I am saying what I am saying. And if you stay to the end of the video, I think not only will you have a little bit of laughter, a little bit of fun, but hopefully you'll also learn a thing or two. Now, it's actually pretty crazy, but statistics show that about 71% of millennials actually regret buying a home. Now, if you're watching this right now, I believe that you're probably a millennial for the most part, due to the fact that about 90 or so percent of my audience is millennials. But if you're not a millennial, then I believe it's about 51% of the population actually regret buying. Now, while those percentages and statistics are actually quite high, I'm actually going to break down why they are that high, and I think you'll find that it's actually quite interesting and probably not what you expected at all. And really quick before I do that, I actually want to let you know that the reason that I think you shouldn't buy a home is actually quite different than the reason that most people that bought a home regretted doing so. And before we jump right into it, go ahead and make sure you smash that like button, you click that subscribe button, and you drop in the comment section down below at the end of the video whether you liked this, whether you didn't like it, what I can do better at, and ultimately what I just completely frickin' suck at. Okay, so is renting actually bad? A lot of people think that when you go and you rent at an apartment or you rent at a single family residence or wherever it is that you rent, that you're literally just throwing your money down the drain, right? And your money's actually not going towards anything whatsoever, and every month you may as well just drive down the freeway, literally wherever you live, roll down your window going 65 miles an hour, take a stack of cash and throw it out the window, and that would be the equivalent to renting an apartment. And that if you buy a house, over time, you're actually paying down a mortgage, and eventually you'll acquire this thing that they call equity, which will actually increase your net worth. You'll be able to eventually sell it at a profit, make a ton of money, retire, sit on the beach somewhere with an umbrella, a pina colada, and enjoy your life. But really quick, let's go ahead and take a look at renting. Now, we're going to look at the benefits, and we're definitely going to look at the disadvantages, and we're actually going to break it down. Now, I'm certainly not saying that you should go rent for the rest of your life, nor am I saying that right now is the time for you to buy a house. And again, like I mentioned a minute ago, understand that I am a licensed real estate agent, and believe it or not, I make more money when you purchase a home than when you rent a home. As a matter of fact, a lot of the times when you rent a home, a guy or a girl like me, we really don't make a lot of money at all. As a matter of fact, we probably even break even. Now, I definitely put a lot of time and energy into renters because I know that they'll eventually buy, and not only that, I like being a good person. So just understand that by me telling you not to buy a home is totally contradictory to my paycheck, my income, and my actual future. All right, number one is that there is no financial risk to actually renting an apartment. Many times when you go to purchase a house, they require a significant amount of money down, sometimes up to even 20% down. Now, let's just imagine that you only bought a $100,000 house. That is $20,000 that you've got to pull out of your savings or out of your checkings, and you've got to literally hand to the bank to actually move in to that property. Now, that is just the tip of the iceberg, and there's definitely a lot of other expenses to purchasing a house. Before you go ahead and start dropping in the comment sections down below, and you literally pause the video and you start typing things like, Austin, you have no idea what you're talking about whatsoever, you're a complete buffoon, and you should go get a job at McDonald's, because this really isn't what you should be doing, providing value on YouTube or anything like that. Let me just go ahead and let you know that I do understand that there's FHA programs, there's VA programs, and there's many other programs out there that will allow you to put significantly less money down, sometimes even 0% down, just depending on the program. And I totally understand that, but again, it's still money down, and it is still a financial obligation, and potentially even a financial risk. Normally when you rent, all you have to do is pay a security deposit, and a lot of the times that security deposit is totally refundable when you move out of your apartment. You also can't forget about property taxes when you buy a house that you're not going to have to pay for when you rent, and also homeowners insurance. Now, normally the reason that I say this right now and not in a minute from now is because property taxes and homeowners insurance actually are typically included in your mortgage. Now, again, these are things that you're not going to have when you rent. But let's go ahead and jump into reason number two, which is location and talk a little bit about the benefits of location when it comes to renting versus buying. When you're buying a home, you're pretty much stuck in that home for the next 30 years of your life, and don't get me wrong, you could surely sell it, but it isn't that easy to do. And if you change your mind tomorrow or the next day, simply just picking up your bag, tearing your lease in half, and walking out the door, it really is not that simple. Many times I talk to millennials and they don't know exactly what they want to do in life. And maybe you're watching this right now and you can totally relate. There's definitely mornings where I wake up myself and I have no idea if I'm on the right path or if I'm totally going backwards. And I'm sure that you felt the same way in the past. Maybe you're beating your head up against the wall and you're jumping from job to job to job. You have different careers that you're looking at and you really don't know what it is that you want to do. And whatever you're doing right now might not be long term. Therefore, buying a house may not be the right decision for you. There's a lot of millennials out there right now that are actually trying to be influencers, and they're taking pictures of themselves and they're making their butts look really big and they're making everything look way better than it actually is. And they're basically spending a bunch of money that they don't have to buy a bunch of things that they don't need to impress a bunch of people that they don't care about and who certainly don't care about them. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, because if you're not the influencer trying to do that, then I can imagine you have a pretty good friend that is. They got 12,000 followers on Instagram. They just got that swipe up feature. Everything looks way better than it actually does in real life. And they've actually only made $112 on Instagram. But they're living in a mansion with all of their buddies, walking around with a video camera, posting videos on YouTube. And you're probably thinking, Austin, you're doing the exact same thing, and maybe I am, and maybe I'm not, I suppose. It just depends on how you look at it. So let's just say you bought a house, and you decided that basically you're going to choose a different career, right? Whatever you were doing is essentially not what you actually want to do for the rest of your life. Now you own this house, and you decided that you want to sell the property. You've got to go ahead and now stage your property, hire a real estate agent, wait for 3 to 6 months while it sits on the market. Tons of other families walk through. They look so amazingly happy while you're sitting there depressed, trying to move on with your life. And all of the things that they see are not the same things that you see. And that doggy door that you put right in that wall, and it worked so perfectly for your brand new French Bulldog, and with the social media thing, everything was just beautiful and it was just brilliant. But for whatever reason, this next family, after all this time and all these setbacks and all this stuff that you have to go through to sell your property, they just see a big fat hole in the wall. And for whatever reason, you didn't see it that way. Now they want it fixed, and you've got to pay for it to get fixed before you'll ever sell that house back on the open market. All right, and last but not least on this topic, things like going to the gym, right? You want to go to the gym and you want to get big and buff like me with these massive freaking biceps. I'm totally kidding. I haven't gone to the gym in a really long time. But you decide you want to go to the gym, and now you've got to get a gym membership. And not only do you have to get a gym membership, but you've got to go get in your car, get in the driveway. You've got to drive in rush hour traffic to the gym to walk in there to get a workout, to drive all the way back home, as opposed to before. You were able to just call your buddy that lives 2 floors above you or below you, go to the gym, get on the elevator, go back upstairs, make yourself a nice glass of wine, watch some Netflix, and just enjoy your night in a matter of half of the time. And number 3 is expenses. When you buy a house, you have all of these crazy expenses to worry about, such as I talked about a little while ago, property taxes and property insurance, but that really is just the tip of the iceberg. You've got a landscaper, you've got a pool guy, you have a plumber, everybody wants to come do pest control. People are knocking on your front door because they're telling you should have solar panels, and if you're not that good at saying no, the next thing you know, you have solar panels as well. And there's all of these different expenses that are going to factor in to being a homeowner, none of which you have when you live in an apartment. As a matter of fact, I currently live in an apartment, for the right or for the wrong, and when something breaks, I simply go online, I type out what broke, I click submit, and by the time I get home that night, it's all fixed, it's perfect, they left a little note on my counter, and everything is fabulous, my rent didn't go up, and nothing actually changed. When I get home from a long day of making a video like this and recording the video to show you the reasons why and why not to buy a house, I essentially go home, I get changed, I walk downstairs, I go to the gym, I pump some freaking iron, attempting to get my muscles to look half as good as your muscles look watching the video right now. It never really works out, but I tell you what, it is extremely simple to do, and there's not a lot of stress or anxiety involved in my life when it comes to the little things. Now, sure, I might pay a little bit more money, and maybe you're right. Maybe it's like me driving down the freeway, throwing the money out the window like we talked about a little while ago, but the peace of mind allows me to just simply wake up in the morning with not a lot of stress and not a lot of anxiety. And for me and my life right now, in the season of life that I'm in, it works out fabulous. And it's not that I don't understand what it's like to buy a house, and it's not that I don't understand how to purchase an investment property, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. It's just that for me right now, it isn't the right decision. And I encourage you to figure out what is and what is not the right decision for you after this video. Just understanding the costs of buying a home, right? It's very expensive to purchase a home, and there's so many different things that you're going to want to factor in when you actually buy a home, right? And those are things that you just want to consider. And if you're working with a real estate professional or somebody like that, I would just get a list and know exactly what you're getting yourself into and the complications of it. And if you check all the boxes and it's not a big deal in your life, then go ahead and purchase a home. But before you do, stay here for just another moment and hear out my last piece of advice on a thing that you might be able to do that could be a total win-win, and that would allow you to actually purchase a property if you've already sold yourself on it, but actually come out on top, unlike buying a single family residence for you and your family or your dog to live in, like you probably planned on doing before you clicked on this video. One of the things that I think I would do if I was going to go purchase right now and I wanted to live in a place other than an apartment complex is I would buy a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex. Now I know before you just click out of this video, you're like, screw you, Austin, I've already had enough of your really stupid jokes throughout this video. The last thing I'm going to do is listen to you tell me why I should buy a property, pay maybe even a little bit more money for the property, and literally have to hear this person on the other side of the wall banging with their freaking hammer at 2 o'clock in the morning. And what could they possibly be hitting at 2 o'clock in the morning, Austin? I have no idea, but I'm telling you, you might actually be able to get some tenants to live in the properties or into the units next door to you and actually make an income, or at the very least, pay your mortgage every single month to where you actually live for free, you're not throwing the money out the window, and you're paying down a mortgage to gain equity in the long run. You'll definitely have to look into this, and I encourage you to talk to a lender. I'm certainly not one, but I believe that the rules and the regulations are very simple. An FHA loan actually allows you to put a lesser amount of percentage down. They look more at the property than they do you now, because now it actually is considered a rental income property, aka if you don't have the greatest credit in the world, they're now actually looking at the property and the income in which the property produces more than they're looking at the income in which you produce. Which it can be quite beneficial if maybe your credit isn't that amazing, or you just haven't really gotten a steady income stream in your life yet. One of the disadvantages, I believe, and again, I encourage you to do your own research, is I believe you have to live in one of the units for 1 to 2 years, depending on the state that you live in, and the actual loan that you acquire, which I believe would be an FHA in this circumstance. Now, you go out and you buy a duplex, you buy a triplex, you buy a quadplex, and let's just say the same numbers apply. Let's just say you purchase your duplex for $100,000, right? And you get an FHA loan and you put 3.5% down. Now, let's just assume that the interest rate was 4%. These numbers, by the way, would all have still been the exact same had you bought a single family residence, but you're now paying $477 per month on your mortgage. And that's amortized over 30 years at 4%. Now, of course, there's a lot of other expenses, so before you drop in the comment section down below, I totally understand that. And these are very simple numbers for you to wrap your brain around. But let's just imagine that it is a duplex, and now you've got a tenant living next door to you paying $700 a month. And after everything's all said and done, your total expenses are $650 per month. You pay your entire mortgage off every single month, you live rent-free, and you put $50 in your pocket, which can pretty much allow you to go to Harkins Cedars, watch a good movie once a month, probably get some popcorn, drink a Coca-Cola, and I can't imagine what's any better than that. And now you're officially not paying any money to live, taking advantage of some of the disadvantages to buying a single-family residence, such as a lot of the expenses. If it was me, I would go ahead and buy an investment property. I would live for free. I would figure out a way to get a tenant or 2 or 3 to pay my mortgage for me, put $1 or $2 in my pocket every single month. And of course, a lot of the disadvantages that we talked about a little while ago still apply, but at least at a minimum, you literally totally eliminate the disadvantage of all the expenses that you have when purchasing a property, right? Above and beyond just your mortgage and the simple things like property taxes and property insurance, but all the things that people forget about over time, a lot of that you actually eliminate. I hope you got a ton of value from this video. I can definitely go into a lot more detail on the investment property part of it. I just wanted to kind of tell you why I would not actually go out and purchase a single family residence, and I hope that you got a ton of value. So drop in the comment section down below what you would like to see in a future video. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you click the like button, smash that subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.